An abandoned carnival stands still at a once bustling town of Wiltbrook. But the angsty teens didn't mind that the circus they used to frequent became desolate. They found the carnival grounds a perfect place to meet up, explore, and sometimes pass around their mom's bottle of tequila. One gloomy night, a group of Wiltbrook teens decided to explore the old carnival grounds. As they one by one crawled through a hole in a fence, surrounding the once adorned carnival entrance standing tall with an electric mix of vivid hues from blazing reds and electric blues to sunny yellows and deep purples, they laugh about the memories of the once lively carnival. They make jokes about how the scent of popcorn and cotton candy that seemed to linger throughout Wiltbrook is now replaced by the smell of trash and cigarette smoke. The loud chuckles of joyous families and the melodious tunes of the calliope are gone, replaced by the noise of sirens. Wiltbrook's crime has gone up since the closing of the carnival, where most of the townspeople worked. They continued on through the carnival armed with flashlights. They ventured into the decrepit circus tents, their footprints echoing through the eerie silence. But as they wandered deeper into the tattered tents, they began to hear faint whispers carried by the wind, strange laughter that sent shivers down their spines. They couldn't tell if their brain was just remembering the sounds of the laughter from the past, or if someone was actually laughing. Its face was painted grotesquely, with a twisted grin that seems to stretch from ear to ear. Its eyes gleamed with a malevolent glint, and its tattered blood-red costume seemed to ripple with an otherworldly energy. The teens tried to flee, but the clown moved with uncanny speed, blocking their escape at every turn. It toyed with them, dancing a macabre waltz of terror as they stumbled through the maze-like carnival grounds. Each time they thought they had eluded the fiend, it would reappear, more horrifying and relentless than before. The midnight clown's laughter grew louder and more deranged, echoing through the deserted carnival like a demented symphony. Its laughter seemed to infect the very air, driving the teens to the brink of madness. They could no longer distinguish between reality and nightmare, and their screams echoed through the night. From that day on, the legend of the Wiltbrook clown only grew, a cautionary tale told to scare children away from the abandoned carnival grounds. In this episode of Cauldron Convos, we're going to be talking about killer clowns, bad clowns, evil clowns, weird clowns, creepy clowns. And with that, we're going to discuss the origin behind this scary idea of clowns. Where did it even come from? The science and psychology behind this weird fear that seemingly everyone has. Real life killer clowns and stories in the news that you probably heard of once. And specifically the 2016 weird phenomenon of killer clown sightings. My name is Kayla, this is Xenu, and we are Cauldron Convos, baby! You were supposed to finally hit the smoke, and you didn't. Zooey! But before we really dive into the evil, the creepy, the weird, scary clowns that we're going to discuss eventually, we just needed to give you a little brief background and history of clowns in general. Did you know that the most ancient clowns were found in the 5th dynasty of Egypt?
No.
I feel like you're in Egypt. Alien,
Well,
around 2400 BC. But unlike court jesters, clowns have traditionally served a socio-religious and psychological role, actually. And traditionally, the roles of priest and clown have been held by the same persons, which is very creepy considering the Catholic Church and the priests. Father Vincent Lambert.
to go like shrink to clown is
It's a little bizarre, but you know what? Times a change. Or they don't, I guess. Peter Berger writes, whoever the hell that is, I don't know. It seems plausible that folly and fools like religion and magic meet some deeply rooted needs in human society.
there were supposedly great magicians actually in Egypt.
Oh, so this isn't just cap? Like this is actually real what I'm reading?
No, yeah, there were great magicians
Okay,
in
good.
Egypt, and they would travel. If you were a magician back in the day, you would go to Egypt to learn magic.
Would you be paid well?
Well, I don't know. I would
Was
assume
it like
so.
a jester? Like you're being paid by the high court?
Well, it's also you'd also go to Egypt to learn how to be a doctor.
Oh, true. Kind of what you're talking about, being trained in another place. Clowning is often considered an important part of training as a physical performance discipline, partly because tricky subject matter can be dealt with, but also because it requires a high level of risk and play in the performer. So clowning has this high risk. I'm assuming by that they just mean like the pressure is on because it's like your responsibility to be funny, but also like serve as someone that's talking to children at a party and make them happy. I don't know why.
I think
it's so
high risk.
It's not like a surgeon.
I mean, you're juggling, flaming bowling pins or throwing knives, or you're getting stuffed into a clown car.
Oh, so that's what. Okay, I thought it was just.
Imagine
more of like...
how catastrophic a clown car accident could be.
Imagine if JFK was assassinated in a clown car. I don't know why I said that.
They'd probably kill like 10 people.
Anyway, I found out that there's a World Clown Association, which I'm kind of jealous I'm not a part of. All of a sudden, I like them. I used to always jump on the bandwagon or the clown car of like, I'm scared of clowns. I don't know. Maybe it was just the cool thing to do back in the day. Were you scared of clowns, or did you say you were? Just,
I
like,
saw the movie It way too young.
I thought the movie It only came out a few years ago.
No, the original It.
Oh, you
movie.
mean like the series? Like it was like a it wasn't like a movie. It was like
I think it was a movie.
But no, it was like a series or something, whatever. But that's funny. I feel like I was less scared of clowns and more scared of full costumed people. Because I had a Tweety Bird version at a party, like my first birthday party ever, and I was like sobbing and someone else blew out my candles and it wasn't me. And that kind of like set the tone for the rest of the birthdays or just my life from there on. But I was fine with clowns, I think.
It was a movie that was 3 hours and 12 minutes long.
It was a movie? I thought it was like a mini
Well, it was a
series.
It was a mini series that was put together into a movie.
Ah, interesting. Okay. The World Clown Association, which includes not just clowns, but also jugglers, magicians, and even face painters, which honestly, I love the inclusion of the face painter. I don't know why I could see clown, juggler, and magician together, but face painter, that's like a little random.
It's
like
more of an artist.
It's like a guru, but they're included. It's part of the circus, baby. But it holds an annual convention that I would love to attend, although I'm not a clown. I don't know if I'm allowed to attend. If you're in the World Clown Association and you would like me to come, I mean, as if anyone needs the talent that I withhold.
I would love to go.
Me too. It'd be a fun experience.
Squeeze some noses, honk some horns.
Oh, yeah. Even though we would love to go to the World Clown whatever association, I think you have to be a clown to go. You like need like a license.
A licensed clown.
License
we
to
probably have to go
carry
to clown school.
The nose. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of Catholics would say that we're clowns, so we could probably
They'd
get
probably
in.
just call us heathens.
There's also a Clowns of America International, which is a nonprofit clown arts membership organization which aims to share, educate, and act as a gathering place for serious-minded amateurs. Serious mind up here. Semi-professionals and professional clowns. Oh, so you could be a semi-professional. And I actually found a statement that the CAI. I think I made that up. It's funny because CIA, but it's clowns. They were asked to respond to evil clowns depicted in the media. And the CAI president, Glenn Kohlberger, said, Hollywood makes money by sensationalizing the norm. They can take any situation, no matter how good or pure, and turn it into a nightmare. We do not support in any way, shape, or form any medium that sensationalizes or adds to the coulrophobia or clown fear.
I wonder if that's Brian Kohlberger's father.
Definitely is. I do kind of feel bad that this whole like career path is kind of rocked because of this fear of clowns that Hollywood has seemingly depicted. Maybe it's not only Hollywood that's, made this fear whatever, but I think they exacerbated it.
Yeah,
the
obviously, because it's the freaking media, bro.
But like, you can just take any job that like, someone pays you for and then just
no
switch
one's
it.
gonna be like, oh no, the plumber's here.
But I'm saying anything that's like an entertainment type of thing. So like, if you were
No,
a costume,
clowns
like an
are just-
Elmo costume
Clowns
guy.
are unsettling.
But that's not their fault. Like, it wasn't always unsettling. They had a talent.
Have you seen Bozo the Clown?
Okay, but what about a magician then? What if magicians were all of a sudden serial killers and every Netflix documentary show, whatever, it was like a magician that was a killer. And then everyone all of a sudden is like, ew, magicians, bye. And then magicians gets phased out and that's the career you wanted. Or maybe you've been practicing it for so long and now your business is hurt. That's why I felt bad. I was just thinking about like a 45-year-old clown who's just like
lives in his mother's basement.
Living in his mother's basement, following in his father's big clown shoes.
Oh, man.
And all of a sudden, Stephen King had to go there.
Is his dad dead?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, man.
We get that Hollywood has depicted killer clowns as this sort of, distasteful profession or whatever. But where did this evil clown idea come from, even before Hollywood? It's actually not really clear on the exact origin of where the evil clown came from, but we do see evil clown characters referenced and written about in works such as Edgar Allan Poe's Hop Frog, and Hop Frog was about a person with dwarfism that was taken from his homeland, becomes the jester of a king fond of practical jokes, and to take revenge on the king and his cabinet, he dresses the king and his cabinet as orangutans for a masquerade. And in front of the king's guests, Hop Frog murders them all by setting their costumes on fire before escaping with his lady dwarf friend. Honestly, iconic Edgar Allan Poe. I went to his grave once, and you were laughing about grave enthusiasts in the previous episode.
Yeah,
or so.
They're freaks. But
no
I
went to
one,
one,
if you're into graves.
And I threw him a penny or a dime or something. I don't know. Evil clowns also occupied a small niche in drama, appearing in the 1874 work La Femme de Tabarin and in the Italian opera, which I know you're a fan of some operas. This one was called Pagliacci. I don't know. Have you heard of it?
Pagliacci?
Something.
I have no idea.
But both of these works feature murderous clowns as the central characters. So that'd be a fun opera.
Yeah, it's in Italian. So you're reading subtitles the whole time.
The Joker, sometimes referred to as the Clown Prince of Crime, is obviously the supervillain in comic books published by DC Comics, and he was actually first introduced in 1940. The Joker was first displayed as a psychopath with a warped, sadistic sense of humor, but he became mostly a harmless, comical prankster in the late 1950s in response to regulation by the Comics Code Authority. I didn't know this was a thing, that the Comics Code Authority was regulated, Joker can't be a psychopath and murder people for fun.
Yeah, and then the Dark Knight comes around and he's blowing up school buses and killing people.
Eventually, yes. In the early 1970s.
He's doing magic, the pen that disappears.
Oh yeah, iconic. He returned to his darker roots, obviously. And during the 1980s, the National Lampoon published a series of mock comic books in the pages of the magazine entitled Evil Clown, which featured a malevolent character named Frenchie the Clown. During that same decade, John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer and rapist, became known as the Killer Clown. I released a video on this channel. I'll put the little linky white thingy bubble up there if you want to learn about him. Really creepy guy. Arrested in 1978, thank God, after it was discovered he had performed as Pogo the Clown at children's parties and other events, even though there's no actual evidence that he was dressing up as a clown or doing any clown tricks or whatever magic while assaulting and etc., his victims, murdering them. But he was and has been since referred to as the Killer Clown just because of this. It wasn't even his career. It was kind of like a hobby that he had or something he did on the side to help the community. Meanwhile, he was killing people. And then in 1986, Stephen King published his book, which features the iconic character Pennywise. And with some research, I found out that Stephen King had the idea to write this book in 1978, even though the book wasn't published until 1986. Now, the first thing I thought was maybe John Wayne Gacy and the arrest and the case maybe inspired Stephen King in a way to write it, or maybe he just subconsciously did it. But while visiting The Late Show with Conan O'Brien asked King if he had any traumatic memories involving clowns, with King going on to explain all of the reasons why clowns scare children. As a kid going to the circus, there would be 12 full-grown people that would all pile out of a little tiny car.
Clown car.
Their faces were dead white, their mouths were red, as though they were full of blood. They're all screaming, their eyes are huge. What's not to like? King joked. I started to actually look at kids when I grew up a little bit, King recalled, pointing out. Kids are all terrified of them, and their parents are like, aren't the clowns funny, Johnny? And Johnny's like, no, get me the hell out of here. These people are all crazy because they are monstrous looking and children are really afraid of them. They do have that monstrous thing going for them. When he asked what his inspiration was for the book, he said, they're out to be one binding, horrible, nasty, gross creature kind of thing that you don't want to see, and it makes you scream just to see it. So I thought to myself, what scares children more than anything else in the world? And the answer was clowns. King himself didn't have any particularly frightening experiences with clowns, but he did recall an event in which he had a close clown encounter. During a particular strenuous book tour, King was on a flight when someone dressed as Ronald McDonald boarded the plane and sat next to Stephen King himself. At one appropriate time, the clown took out a cigarette and ordered a gin and tonic. When King asked where the clown had come from, the clown just replied, McDonald land. So good. Like, what? But my conspiracy is that maybe subconsciously Stephen King, was listening to the John Wayne Gacy case. He was arrested in 1978 and he had this idea later in the year, Stephen King. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe you were hearing it, but I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 70s. I don't know how big the John Wayne Gacy, I'm assuming a serial killer case, especially when there's no social media. Everything on the news is probably like the talk of the town. So I'm assuming he knew about it. So whatever, Stephen King, I do love you. So I'm just going to move on from that. If you are a Simpsons fan, which we're going to be doing a Simpsons Predicting the Future in like a week or so from this podcast, we literally already have it in the works, but Krusty the Clown was introduced to The Simpsons in 1989, and although he's not really like an evil clown, he doesn't, murder anyone, not that we know, he is sometimes depicted as a jaded, burned-out entertainer who has been down and remains addicted to gambling, cigarettes, alcohol, Percodan, Pepto-Bismol, and Xanax.
Now,
party mix.
Sideshow Bob works with Krusty the Clown, and he wants to kill Bart.
And Krusty the Clown instantly becomes depressed when the cameras stop rolling. Marge even states in the Sweetest Apu episode that, quote, off camera, he's a desperately unhappy man. And the It drama miniseries, like we were talking about before, was released in 1990, and you might be familiar with the 2017 movie It. There are obviously a ton more references to evil clowns in media and pop culture, music, literature since then, but I want to move on to the real clown sightings, what really kind of made this real for people and like what is going on, what's the obsession with clowns these days. So let's just go on to the real life clown sightings. Now the first clown sighting appears to be in 1981 in Boston. And two men were dressed as clowns and they approached children and tried to entice them into entering their van by offering them candy. A classic situation that I'm sure your parents warned you about, or maybe you warned someone about, or maybe you had no parents and now you're in the van. I'm just kidding. So bad. You're just like watching it. No, I'm not even kidding. That probably happens to people. Anyway, the police called the town school department and told administrators to be extra cautious. The school superintendent instructed all 10 elementary schools to warn people. This clown panic spread throughout the U.S. and the Midwest and the Northeast, and there were alleged sightings of clowns again in 1985 in Arizona, 1991 in New Jersey, 1990, 1995 in Honduras. Later sightings included Chicago and Illinois in 2008. So there's like always these weird clown sightings just turning up here and there. I don't know if it's just sadistic, weird people trying to like get something out of a kid.
Definitely.
And they
people
decide
are weird.
to dress as a clown. But like kids don't like clowns. So you're doing it because you know they don't like it. Because I get the offering candy or like, I have a puppy in my van. Or like, do you want to watch Bluey on my iPad? Like,
oh God, what?
Oddly specific. But like, I understand those things because, like, you're luring them in. But, like, a clown, like, they would run. Like, I would be out of there. So, don't try that shit on me. Anyway, in 2013, a character who became known as the Northampton Clown was repeatedly sighted standing silently around the English town. Rumors said that the clown may have a knife, but the clown himself denied these rumors through social media. Okay, so he's active.
I love that.
I guess there's like no law prohibiting being dressed as a clown walking around.
No, not at all. I would feel like it's encouraged probably.
So that's funny. That kind of reminds me of a time in field hockey, and I don't think I've ever admitted this on the internet, and I've admitted a lot of things, but I'm just going to be real and authentic and genuine with y'all for a second. There was a time in field hockey, which I wasn't good at because I didn't play sports until like middle school, like tryout day. Like that was like the first time I played a sport, and I was like, oh, well, let's see how this goes. Anyway, my dad, like athletic type, was proud of me because before that, all I did was like go on Tumblr and like cry. And so he was proud of me. So he came to practice one day, but instead of, like knowing where to go and sitting in the bleachers like all the normal parents did, my dad decided to bring a camera, binoculars, and sit in the middle of trees. And for some reason, he started snapping shots. He was looking through the binocular. And you know what? I honestly take the fault in this, because when someone was like, "Who's that creeper in the bushes?" instead of being like, "Oh my God, haha, that's my dad. So funny. Like, he doesn't know where to sit," whatever. I just was silent. I just like froze. I couldn't speak. And so everyone on the team was freaking out that this creepy man was taking photos, binocular, looking at us, running around, field hockey. Like, they were about to call the cops, and I was still like mouth shut. Like, I am not getting off this team. Like, I am not getting bullied tomorrow, honey. You know?
I can't blame you. I would probably have done the same.
So with all that being said, I don't know why. Oh, I guess because I was thinking about like the clowns and how some of them are just like chilling. They're going home from work. They had a rough day. And meanwhile, people are filming them like, "Ew, who's this weirdo clown walking around?" That was my dad. But not a clown. He was just in the woods recording like middle school girls playing field hockey. Totally normal. Anyway. In 2014, a YouTuber called his channel was called DM Pranks, began dressing up as a killer clown and terrifying unsuspecting passerbys, with his videos ranking up hundreds of millions of views. Now, I don't know, like pranking people in public, I don't know if there are any laws around that.
Certainly not.
But it's just so bizarre that you could just literally like pop out of nowhere as a clown and like you could have caused someone PTSD, or like they might have had a bad experience with whatever you're dressing up as or whatever you're doing to them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if they have a weapon on them and they do something? I guess they don't care. They're just trying to get the prank. They're trying to get the clout.
It's all about the clout, baby.
I'm trying to like dab and like do dances in this, but I literally am like a marionette right now. Boop, 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 boop. Anyway. In 2014, further complaints of evil clown pranksters were reported in France even. Oh, they're mimes. But they weren't mimes. I feel like mimes are French. Thoughts?
No, mimes are definitely French.
See?
It has a beret. Its uniform is a beret.
And like a little baguette it carries sometimes.
Yeah.
And like a black and white shirt. I don't know. The United States and Germany, with people thinking it could have been potentially inspired by American Horror Story, specifically Freak Show. So there's a series of American Horror Story, because like each season is like a different creepy whatever, and one of them was Freak Show, and that was released October 8th of 2014. So people are kind of like, you know, maybe this is like a catalyst of the clown sightings that later come in 2016. And a person in clown attire was spotted in a cemetery in Chicago in July of 2015.
Oh my.
2 residents saw the creepy clown scaling the gate at the Rose Hill Cemetery at night.
Oh man.
But like, to be alone as a clown at night, like, what do you do? Like, you're clearly asking
you're
to
doing
be
something
seen
naughty.
And you're doing something naughty, or you just like want to be a meme or whatever. And after the clown entered the cemetery, they turned to face the residents and began waving slowly.
Oh no.
As they made a video recording. So it must have been like a YouTuber. But after this clown in the cemetery in Chicago waved for a few seconds, the clown ran into a dark wooded area and was not seen again. Police investigation of the sighting did not lead to any arrests. I could just walk down like the street, and not that anyone's gonna be scared of me. They're literally gonna be like, "Who is this too old of a woman to be, you know,
dressing
playing around in this clown, whatever." Okay, if I was like a guy and scary looking and walking down the street, and then someone called the cops, all you gotta do is take the costume off and throw it in the garbage pail.
Yeah, that's true.
My mom says that. Garbage pail.
Garbage pail.
In 2014, the Wasco clown attracted social media attention in California. Again, this clown shared a similar resemblance to Pennywise, and it was revealed that the social media postings were part of a year-long photography project conducted by the artist's wife. What is going... See, like, maybe you know what? Maybe I should talk to them about this. They probably have some, like, deep reasoning of why they were doing this photography project.
Yeah.
They're deep. They're artists. They definitely have, like, a whole reasoning behind taking photos of a clown and the environment. I don't know. Maybe I'm just ruling. Maybe they were just like, no, bitch. Like, we just want to scare people. In Bakersfield, California, menacing clowns were reported. Some even with weapons. Now we get into the worst killer clown phenomenon, 2016 clown sightings. If you don't remember them, good for you. I lay awake at night sometimes thinking about this. But this phenomenon was mostly happening in the United States. It did trickle outside of the United States to some other countries as well, but mostly in the US. And it involved numerous reports of individuals dressed as clowns, often acting in a menacing or unsettling manner, appearing in various locations. Now, the sightings began in late summer and early fall of 2016, so right before getting into Halloween, with reports originating from various states, including South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and more. And social media platforms actually played a significant role in the spread of this weird phenomenon that was happening. Photos and videos of these clowns were widely shared, and discussions about the sightings went viral, fueling public interest and anxiety. The behavior of these clowns ranged from merely just standing silently on the side of the road or in public places, to more disturbing actions such as making threats, attempting to lure children into the woods, or engaging in criminal activities. It's like in those horror movies where they're like, ha ha, honey, like, da da da. You know, I feel like they're always like stupid and aloof or whatever. And it's kind of like the thing. It's like, oh, someone dressed in a clown, like, haha, playing a prank. And it's like, no. It could either be that or
something
someone
crazy.
luring you into the woods. What? Some were believed to be pranks, others appeared to be genuinely menacing, obviously. And the sightings had a substantial impact on communities, particularly schools, and many school districts were actually increasing security measures because of this. Some communities banned clown costumes altogether during the Halloween season. Honestly, I would be for that. If you want to ban, like, clown costumes during the Halloween season because of this happening, let them. Any other season, fine. But, like, if this is happening, no. Like, because you don't want, like, a kid to get smacked in the head. And parents were particularly concerned about the safety of their children, obviously. And as the fall of 2016 came to an end and Halloween passed, the sightings gradually declined. All of a sudden, it's just like, okay, moving on.
Those were really entertaining videos, though.
I know, they're
we should bring that
weird.
back.
I think they were like on Ring cameras. I feel like I oddly remember people spotting them. Well,
some doorbell cameras, but then like people in Central Park, I remember.
Yeah.
Like just being chased by a clown, like dragging it back.
Really?
Yeah, those were good videos. Those were so funny.
I feel like the Ring camera would be honestly like
the Ring cameras are spooky.
Strategy. Because like so many people have Ring cameras footage these days, and it would pick you up on it.
Oh yeah.
If you walk down one street, odds are someone on that street is going to see that video of this weird clown person walking down. They're going to post it on something. People are going to be interested in seeing the video.
Definitely.
So honestly, maybe I should just go running out tonight. Anyway, I gotta go, guys. Busy. On October 25th, 2016, news outlets were reporting an alleged clown-initiated purge or attack, which was supposed to take place on Halloween Eve, which is also, if you know, known as Mischief Night, the night before Halloween, the day before Halloween, whatever. While there were no widespread purge attacks as threatened, a family from Florida was attacked on October 31st, 2016 by a group of approximately 20 people in clown masks and masks styled after the Purge movie.
Oh,
that's
my.
so messed up, man. Like,
that's a lot of people.
20? Like, give them a break.
It's like a gang.
It is. Like, I think that's kind of like the point, like, because it was inspired by the Purge. You know, they all go out like in their little weird masks and such. Ugh. Anyway, moving on. But as we're so disgusted, some people actually fought back. They took it upon themselves to be like, no, F you clowns, F the World Clown Association. Just kidding. I know they have nothing to do with this. But students at Pennsylvania State University and Michigan State University, PSU, MSU, I don't know anyone who goes to either. But anyway, the students were involved in mobs that searched for the clowns on campus after reported sightings. Campgrounds floated with rumors of clown attacks. So that honestly, this is what happens when some paranormal weird shit goes down. They mob together, baby. They brought them closer. What's the MSU? I feel like they're like the Cougars or something. What's the PSU? They're also like the Cougars or something. The Lions. No. Panthers? What's the Michigan one? Oh, is that the little green Trojan guy?
I don't know.
Red, green. I don't know. This is how much I know about those kinds of state schools. Several New Zealand shops withdrew clown costumes from their shelves. In the United States, multiple school districts issued a blanket ban on all clown costumes and clown masks. Target, shout out Target, pulled clown masks from its website and stores as a result of the scare. So even a big retailer like Target, no, they could be making money on that. Game over. They probably already had them manufactured. Honey. Not doing it. They're taking a stance. They're showing they're socially responsible before the money.
Yeah.
I guess.
Good for them.
Good for them, honestly.
I love Target
Me
sometimes.
too.
Sometimes they do kind of push my buttons when I show up.
When they make you spend $50 and they don't really give you the $15 gift card because you have to like buy Kleenex instead of like the brand name tissue, and you're like, what? I did all that work for
Kleenex is the
what?
brand name. You have to buy like simply Kleenex.
Even employees of theme parks were instructed to remove any horror costumes and makeup before leaving work. So Universal Horror Nights, who? They probably didn't really even have clowns that year. I mean, Universal Horror Nights, I actually was thinking about it today. I don't think you can wear costumes and scare people. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that could be a premise of a movie. But considering Universal would be the one making the movie, I don't think they would make the movie about themselves
scaring people
at their parks where it's supposed to be safe and you're supposed to have fun and not be whatever. But like, can't you see like a real murderer being at like a Universal Horror Night and like just and like they act like they're part of the thing and they just like grab you
and they just.
And they like bring you into a haunted house in like a specific area that like only they.
No.
And they dress. Oh, maybe they are an employee. They are an employee this whole time.
I once went to a really scary haunted house, but it was a haunted corn maze.
Oh my god.
And they had chainsaws. And they were real chainsaws, but they had like no blades, or they had plastic over the blades or something. Yeah. And it was horrifying.
Dang. I know. The science behind why we're scared of clowns. Now, I think I mentioned this before, but the fear of clowns is called coulrophobia. And while only 5% of 987 adults in a survey were extremely afraid of clowns, that same survey found that 54%, so more than half of the respondents reported experiencing some degree of coulrophobia or the fear of clowns. A study by the University of Sheffield concluded that, quote, clowns are universally disliked by children. Some found them quite frightening and unknowable. So why are we so scared of clowns? Why has this just been a thing since you were a kid, since I was a kid, whatever? There's some theories of why children and adults find clowns terrifying. Some of them include the fact that the nature of clowns' makeup hides their faces, making them potential threats in disguise. And a psychology professor at California State University, Northridge, stated... CSU in the house. Stated, young children are very reactive to a familiar body type with an unfamiliar face. Writer Wolfgang Zucker pointed out the similarities between a clown's appearance and the cultural depictions of demons and other infernal creatures, noting the clown's chalk white face in which the eyes almost disappear, while the mouth is enlarged to a ghoulish bigness, looks like the mask of death. So the very reactive to the familiar body but unfamiliar face is kind of related to the uncanny valley effect, which we talked about in the Haunted Dolls podcast episode. If you want to listen to it, I'll link it. And also a lot of paranormal, I feel like things kind of have this uncanny.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why it's so scary. Additionally, clown behavior is often transgressive, which is antisocial behavior, which can create feelings of unease. So they might not talk, act in ways that are funny and comedic, but like just kind of odd. Yeah, bizarre. Yeah. In a Time magazine article, Dr. Rami Nader, a registered psychologist practicing at Vancouver's North Shore Stress and Anxiety Clinic, points out that clowns' faces are disguised and they have these large artificial displays of emotions. So you have a clown with a painted face and a big smile, but you don't really know what they're actually feeling, he tells Time. There's this inherent mistrust that what they're presenting to you isn't what they're actually feeling. And I could totally see that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because also, clowns are paid to do the act, and it's so expressive that you know, like when sometimes someone is so nice that it's like, this feels fake.
Yes.
Too nice in a weird, too expressive, happy for you when you like seemingly don't know them. And I think that's kind of what happens with clowns. But those are just some of the theories. I'm sure people go on and on. But that is it for this week's episode of Evil Creepy Killer Clowns. If you liked it, as always, make sure to give it a like, comment, subscribe for weekly videos. We're going to be posting crazy videos leading up to Halloween.
It's spooky season.
Spooky season, baby. That's why we have the costume. So if you want to see our costume next week and some previous episodes, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned for the future ones and go back and watch the other ones if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching, as always. And see you next time here on Cauldron Convos, baby.
Bye.